So I'm Susan Innes, and I'm the Adult and Recovery Service Coordinator for DAPL Fife. I'm a CBT psychotherapist and a counsellor supervisor as well. And I'm here today with my colleague Ro Bell, and I want to tell you about the number of doors or barriers, but we prefer to call them doors, people in recovery or wanting to get into recovery have to go through to get a service they need. So where are you?
Oh, I'm here.
And what's that you've got?
It's my DAPL door with a queue in front of it.
Oh, get rid of the queue. And what's that? What's that behind it?
It's another queue.
Oh, can you get rid of that? What were you thinking of?
Well, you tell me, we were presenting to all these folks here in Dundee, and we had to tell them how we'd got rid of the queues before folks got through the door, and then how we got rid of the queues inside the door, because folks were there because we'd assumed consent, and further assumed that our door was the right door, because, well, being there, they must need therapy, when really they might need another service entirely. So we set up a client-focused system of choice that met their needs where they are.
And this is how our new contact system has increased engagement by 40%.
And how our new system of contact has improved everything by 40%. Audit Scotland will be pleased.
Now, Ro, I told you have to be professional here.
It's you.
Next one. So, overview of our team. So what do? So at DAPL, we know that one size doesn't fit all when it comes to psychological therapies. That's why we offer a range of options to suit everyone's needs, and we're including time, location, gender of therapist, and modality. So we also offer cognitive behavioural therapy, person-centred therapy, psychodynamic therapy, integrative methods, pluralistic therapy, and for the young people we add in art therapy as well. These are all evidence-based approaches.
Sorry.
These are all evidence-based approaches that help improve well-being and teach important coping skills. Our aim is to tackle the root cause of mental health challenges and support recovery and long-term wellness. We offer a service Fife-wide, morning, afternoon and evenings, via telephone, video call and face-to-face. So it's a truly client-centred choice we're offering. So how did we engage with people in the past? So we used to use what we call snail mail. We used to send out a letter. And then we had a light bulb moment. Everyone has telephones. Why don't we send texts? But what were we missing? People were still not attending. People were still not coming along. So what we were doing was we were assuming consent. And we were assuming people wanted our unique selling point, therapy. So we sent them a letter inviting them to the one thing. So then we had a thought, why don't we offer choice and empowerment? A full menu offering the choice, meeting people at the door and finding out what they needed before you came through the door.
We realised there were some barriers to treatments, queues, blocking, waiting lists. So we had to work backwards to the first point of contact. We needed to get to know you and get you to the place that you needed to be. That means naming barriers, as others have talked about, familiar barriers. and acknowledging the drivers that bring people into a trauma-informed service. At every single step, you're met at DAPL by a trauma-informed therapist who will ask, what is it that you need or want? There are barriers to treatment. People in recovery encounter lots of doors, and we at DAPL were determined that our doors would be open. So Susan developed the concierge model.
So what is the concierge model? So that is, we meet you at the door, we respect what you're wanting, and our model is informed by psychological systems and theories. We have the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, fulfilling the basic needs, meeting the person at their point of need. These have to be addressed first. So it may be someone is needing to be liaised with food banks, maybe safeguarding, maybe advocacy, it may be working with partners, and that's still before you've come through our door. When foundational needs remain unaddressed, people may struggle to engage in heightened levels of psychological processes. This engagement gap creates significant obstacles in access and treatment.
Very good, but that was my line. Bronfenbrenner's micro-macro systems is ecological systems theory. Susan, what is it?
So, it's ecological systems theories. So the macro system, and if you went back to our last slide, the macro system is the law and the criminal justice systems. Then the local cultural norms and expectations impacting on our clients through referrals by courts and social work. A mesosystem that describes how a person's microsystems interact with each other. Microsystems are the immediate surroundings of a person, such as their family, their tribe, and community. The mesosystem is where these microsystems connect and influence each other. Only once all these have been named do we get to the individual in the centre. And once we've got to the individual in the centre, we'll use motivational interviewing, which is at the core competency for all our staff. And we were taught by the best, Mr. Alan Robbie, who you may all know, in SDF, and realising there are lots of issues and pressures. They may be positive, they may be negative, but applying these theories led us to the change. And then we go on to our old friend, the cycle of change.
So you're met at the door. You're at the beginning of thinking about change. How can I stop using? Where can I get support? What's my plan? What changes do I need to make? We will no longer make assumptions about consent. We create real consent and reinforce that in several ways.
So the call system and its impact. So when people present, on the very day of presentation, a trauma-trained therapist phones that person. We do not just automatically add people to the waiting list. And as you can see from our door, what was happening was we were having queues of people who maybe weren't for our door. And we were clogging up the waiting list. So now we phone people up to 3 times, and we follow each phone call, if they don't answer, with a text. And we're using open language. And the door is always left open because people make choice. Some people don't want to come to our service and have been sent along. So we always leave the door open with our language. We no longer function with assumed consent, sending out an appointment by a letter or a text telling you that your appointment's on Tuesday at 3 o'clock. We phone and we speak to people. Integrating various communication methods, letter, telephone and text, has significantly enhanced client outreach and engagement. This multi-channel buffet approach allows for tailored follow-up with the client. So if you don't come along and you don't get in touch with us, in a couple of weeks we're going to phone you again. We're going to send you another text and ask if you'd like to come along. And we're meeting them where they are in need, ensuring they remain informed and supporting their motivation. If we look at our cycle of change and motivation, to attend therapy sessions, because that's what we offer, therapy sessions. Only those who are in need and want therapy come through our DAPL door, ready and willing to begin with their initial access appointment. This is their first therapeutic session. Opening the right doors, and remember at our doors, to those who need, and navigating those who need elsewhere to other doors. So the process, so as we've said, when the client knocks on our door, they may not answer to begin with, but we'll send a text and say we'll get back in touch with you. And we'll phone again. And then we'll send another text if you don't answer that phone call. And then we'll do another one. And we just think after 3 times, we don't want to be getting into the stocking leak. So we'll leave it at that, but we leave the door open. We don't say we're going to close your file. We're going to leave the door open, and when you'd like to get back in touch with us, get in contact. So we call at least 3 times. The door is left open, but if you answer, that's when we're using our MI, we're using our alcohol brief intervention, our drug brief intervention, we're offering harm reduction, mental health first aid. And what exactly can we do for you? Asking, what is it you're here for? Why have you come along our service? Why have you come our door? So you didn't attend the appointment. So we will call at least 3 times and send texts to reinforce that you can attend. The door opens and you want to come in for psychological therapies. So the door stays open, or you drop out of counselling and we send a text letting you know you can return at any time. At no time are we using closed language. Your file is closed, get back in touch. What's that saying to somebody? So the door reopens and you're free to come here at any time. Or you may come into counselling and you go through your counselling and you finish that approach, and you may go on to motivational and behavioural coaching that we offer. Or you may go into our Smart Recovery community, or we'll signpost you other partner agencies or the fellowship meetings. And once you finish your work at DAPL, we ensure that you know that the door is always open and you can come back. It is a simple and effective change we have delivered, which has increased client engagement, as I've said, by 40%. And this was born out of the necessity through COVID and has brought about an empowering system of choice. The client has a choice all the way. And it's reduced our waiting list, and it's improved DAPL's service.
Because at DAPL, the door is never shut.
At DAPL, the door is always open.
Oh, damn. At DAPL, the door is always open.
And that is the end of our presentation. And if anyone has any questions for us, we're happy to take them.